We're in the holiday doldrums, but I'm going to wrap up Glengarry Glen Ross on today's Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. And it's Wednesday morning. You're seeing this on Thursday or possibly later if you're seeing it all. My name's Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the associate broker here at ProStar Realty, and this is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. And since it is Wednesday morning, I'm actually off to a slow start. I'm only on my third cup of coffee. I'm trying to get this recording done and everything processed and uploaded today so you guys can see it tomorrow on Thursday, because I'm going to be headed out of town. I got a funeral service up north that I'm going to be going to. I'll be back next week. Of course, I'm always in contact with cell phones and emails and all that other good stuff, so it's not like it's going to have any major impact on business or anything. But it's the week after a major holiday. And, you know, as I'm going to point out here in the numbers, we are going into what's called the holiday doldrums. Between Thanksgiving, the end of Thanksgiving, and pretty much the first of the year, real estate almost comes to a complete stop. It doesn't mean that things aren't getting transacted still, but you're not going to see as many houses hit the market. You don't have that many buyers out there. And so we start slowing down. Real estate news has been relatively slow. The national numbers were supposedly really good in October. I'm constantly in this place where I'm sitting here watching these and reading these articles, and they're always in these breathless headlines of numbers went up, numbers go down, numbers go up, numbers go down. They always say that, year over year, but they're also specific, calling out the seasonal trends that we have. And though arguably they throw in that little year-over-year thing, but the layman really doesn't understand that. But this is the winter time. Nationally, real estate slows down over winter. Here in Arizona, everything slows down, mostly because of the holidays. And it's just a continual thing. So if you see anything out there in the national levels about, the bubble popping and this and that and the other thing, just remember that's somebody who's just trying to clickbait you into reading the article and whatnot. So other than that, I hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving. It was pretty uneventful for us over here. We are just moving along, and this is a time of year where people start going into their business planning, or at least should be going into their business planning. They should be looking at what they're planning on doing next year, how much they'd like to do, setting the goals, setting expectations, and getting things in place to kick it off. I've been advising my agents that they should have all sent out at least e-cards for Thanksgiving to contact their database. Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving. And then to do it again right before Christmas. Merry Christmas. And then follow it up with a New Year's thing between Christmas and New Year's, because the beginning of January is when everything will kick back off. And this is very, very traditional surge that we get. Kicks in January. We get the holidays over. And who put Christmas so close to the end of the year anyways? Between Christmas and Thanksgiving, we get all these holidays like all packed in one, when we could have spreaded them out and found something to do in the middle of August. Seriously on that. So we're going to start with the numbers and then go back. And then afterwards, we're going to Glengarry, Glen Ross. So here's the numbers real quick. Now the numbers for December 1st, 2021. Actives this week were 7,380, up 358 from the week before. New listings were 1,410, down 656. Our pendings are at 1,466, down 543. Under contracts looking for backups are at 747, down 343 from the week prior. And contracts with the buyer's contingency are at 58, which is down 32. Closings were also down at 2,063, which is down 498 from the week before. And our coming soons are 468. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing the holiday doldrums. Thanksgiving last week. This period from Thanksgiving to the New Year is usually the slowest in real estate. People do not want to be selling their houses while they're getting the holidays done. Buyers aren't interested in trying to move over the top of the holidays, and everybody just sort of takes a big step back and puts all their plans on hold. I'm not tracking them, but you're going to see more cancellations, more temporarily off markets happen right about now. And as we look at these numbers, the big things to look at is only 1,410 new listings were put on the market, and that's a huge jump. Now, our actives do go up, from last week, and we had been dropping down over the last couple weeks, but you got those actives coming in, but mostly that's because less houses are going pending, less of them are going under contract. You see all three categories there are all down. And of course, the closings are always impacted by major holidays, with Thanksgiving and everything. That's why you saw the surge last week, right before Thanksgiving, of things getting closed early so people would be done with. And are coming soon at 468 is actually probably the lowest I've ever seen tracked up there. So what we got here is it's the holidays, but coming at the beginning of the year, like literally the 2nd of January, phones are going to be ringing off the hooks. You're going to see listings go up. You're going to see people suddenly getting ready to, now that the holidays are over, they're going to start talking about moving. This is why this is a very big time for real estate agents to start getting their marketing going. They should be planning out the new year. They should be working on their goals and their intentions. And what they do in the next couple of weeks is going to make or break their first quarter. And that's the numbers. So finishing up Glengarry, Glen Ross. It is we're hitting the last two characters and the MacGuffin, and honestly, the MacGuffin in this one is a character unto itself. For those who are not familiar with the term MacGuffin, I'm going to explain it in the next segment, and pretty much wrap up Glengarry, Glen Ross. So here we go. And now the wrap up for Glengarry, Glen Ross. So, like we've been discussing, Glengarry, Glen Ross is a movie that came out. It was written as a stage play by David Mamet, and it's quite legendary for its performances. We've covered Jack Lemmon's Machine. We've covered Ed Harris and Alan Arkin. We even touched on Kevin Spacey for a bit, and who can forget, the High Swallow over here. So the last three characters we're going to cover today is going to be, the two of the legendary characters, and then the special third character that nobody knows about, the MacGuffin of this entire movie. But we're going to start right now with Al Pacino's character. Now, Al Pacino's character, all right, goes by the name of Richard Roma. All right, and he is the high-scoring agent in the office. Right, as you can see on the blackboard behind him on the screen, he's done $90,000 in sales to date. He is way, way, way ahead of his next competitor at $27,000. So he's sitting in the catbird seat, and he indirectly lords it over the rest of the agents in the office. Now, what's interesting is the power dynamic that you see in this movie and between these characters. When they are up, they are up. They are the cock of the walk. And when they are down, they're very supplicant. They're very, needy. At this point in the show, you're looking at the alpha of the office. And he is gregarious. He is cheerful. He's sitting large. And he's also probably the closest thing to what you might actually see as a real estate agent in this movie. And the reason why I say that is he is actually out on the streets making it happen. Now, at the beginning of the movie, one of the major scenes is they have a huge office meeting where Blake comes in and basically reads him the riot act. But Ricky Roma there, he's not there at the meeting because he doesn't have to be. All right, because he's producing. There's that board again. He's at the top right there. And if he's closing, not only do you coffees get closers, but closers don't have to show up to the board meetings and whatnot. And he's being successful at this point because of a completely different approach that he's taken to than the other agents in the office. Because you remember, as we sat here and we looked at the rest of the characters and everything, Kevin Spacey is handing out the leads. Jack Lemmon is complaining about the leads. Alan Arkin is complaining about the leads. Ed here is complaining about the leads. Everybody's complaining about the leads, except for Ricky Roma, because he's not using the leads. He's out there talking to complete strangers at bars and selling them real estate. And this is one of the misnomers in real estate that a lot of people think happens, is they think that when you're a sales agent working for a brokerage, the brokerage is just going to magically hand you leads. And a lot of brokerages do, my brokerage does, but not in the extent that's going to keep you fully gainfully employed as a real estate agent. 9 times out of 10, what's going to happen is you have to generate your own work. And that's what Ricky Roma's doing. He is out there generating his own work, talking to strangers, getting deals done. And this reflects a lot more what the current market is, because you can only go so far unless you're willing to go out there and promote yourself. If you're just sitting at the office waiting for work to come in through the front door, or your broker to come over and hand you leads, you're going to have a bad time, right? But, Ricky Roma here, he is out there making it happen. And he's probably the best example of a sales agent who's treating this like a job and going out there every day. And like I said, it's not like when he's talking to the high sparrow over here, this guy did not come on a 3x5 card with a name, email address, and list of wants and likes. Right? This was just a random guy that he interacted with, and he, through his interaction with them, realized that this gentleman right here has a need, and Ricky Roma had something to fill that need. So that was Ricky Roma's position. Now, it's also interesting at the end of the day, he winds up losing a deal because of Kevin Spacey's character. Right. He yells, he bitches, he moans, he complains, and then he goes out there and he says, give me some leads, I'm going to go out there and make it happen again. So even though he's taking a hit, he's still not defeated. And he's still getting back out on the streets and making these things happen. So, and that's the reason why he's number one in his office. He's working. He ultimately is working. So that covers our actual agents and employees of the office, all right? So the last character I want to cover here is Alec Baldwin's character, Blake. Alec Baldwin's character of Blake is legendary in sales for his always be closing speech. I am not going to link to it here. I'm not going to show you any of it because the profanity gets pretty high in this. So I'll put a lead in the show notes below. You can follow that. And what's funny is looking while I was researching this movie, I always got the feeling that this entire movie was like sitting there going, oh, this is why capitalism bad. This is why, sales is a horrible job. But some people have watched this speech and used it as like a call to action. And they sit there and they'll play it to themselves to motivate themselves before they get out there in the world. And so indirectly, even though this character is supposed to say, isn't this horrible and terrible, there's a certain percentage of the population went, yeah, that's who I want to be. I want to be Blake. So the Blake characterization and the Blake character and this coming down to kick ass and take names and whip these guys into shape and get them out there and get them selling property and putting signatures on the lines that is dotted. All right. Really, you see this particular character permeate across, especially in a lot of motivational speakers, especially in a lot of seminar speakers where you're going to sit there and you're going to pay $500, to go down to the Holiday Inn and meet in the big conference room where some guy in his cheap suit's going to come up and sell you copies of his book and his process of making money. And this is how we're going to do things. This is going to revolutionize your industry and yourself. And having heard enough of these things and watched enough of these spiels, I can see little bits of Blake's in all of them. So Alec Baldwin's character, this scene here pretty much made his career. Now, I don't know if he was trying to channel Gordon Gekko from Wall Street on this, but you can see the elements of it. And strangely enough, Gordon Gekko, his greed is good speech, actually instead of being the big bad guy revealing his nefarious plan, actually has turned into like a motivating rally cry for people. And it's sort of like how Hollywood tries to get a message across, but somehow they so characterize what they perceive a position of being, they actually make it a recruiting poster. So Yeah, Blake, go and watch. If you don't watch anything of this movie, watch his speak. This is a Blake Coffee is for Closers speech. And that brings us to the very, very last MacGuffin, the last character in this, and it's somebody I've alluded to throughout this entire movie. The Glengarry Glen Ross leads. Right? They are the hidden character of this movie. They are when Hollywood movies called the MacGuffin. It's the Maltese Falcon. It's the Lost Ark. These are the things that the whole rest of the movie and all the characters are moving around, is getting their hands on those leads right there. We talked about leads earlier, and what a lead is a lead is contact information for an individual who is ready, willing, and able to either purchase a house, interested in purchasing a house, or has real estate that they need to get rid of. Right? And they are worth their weight in gold. It is where the transaction starts, is a real estate agent getting in contact for the first time with a potential customer. And these leads are generated through various ways. When I'm teaching this, I use two different models, right? You have what you call your A business and your B business. Your A business is the business that you get because you are awesome. This is people who have decided to work with you because they personally know you, or they've been referred to you by somebody that they trust, and that somebody trusts you. It could be family members. It's that word of mouth. It's your sphere of influence. You know, somebody at the office pops up and goes, "Hey, wow, I really need a real estate agent." And you go, "Hey, I know a great real estate agent. How about if I have Ray give you a call?" They're the best kind of leads because the individual doesn't actually have to work for them. The agent themselves do not have to go out there and knock on 50 doors to find one house that needs to be sold. So a business is very organic. It does not require high inputs from the agent to earn, but it does require reputation. And if you've developed a good reputation and you've helped a lot of customers and people like working with you and are looking forward to working with you again, they're going to turn around and refer you out, and that's how you earn your A business. The other business is I call B business. And this is the business that you generate through advertising expenditures, through Facebook pages, through marketing sources, however you go about doing it. But that is actually more transactional. You have a service you wish to provide. You create advertising to generate leads that you then follow up on and then hopefully get a customer out of it. And hopefully that customer is happy with you at the end of the transaction, so they become a further source of a business for you downstream. We have a lot of agents who reach a point where they just kick back and live off their Rolodex. They don't have to market anymore. They have enough people through their sphere of influence that they've interacted with over time that is just bringing them work. And you can be very successful in a career at that. But when you're just starting out, all right, outside of your immediate sphere of friends and family, it's really that B business that's going to get you to renew your license at the end of your first term. In this case and in this movie, Mitch and Murray, who are the owners of this company that we never see in the movie, have spent money to generate these leads. It's inferred in this, and if not directly stated, that Mitch and Murray hire advertising copywriters to put ads in magazines with a contact us, fill out this postcard, and send it in. Right? If you're interested in the wonderful opportunities we have available to you at Mitch and Murray Premier Homes. This is today's modern equivalent of that is your Zillows, your Realtor.coms, your Home.com, where agents pay Zillow, Realtor.com, Home.com to be the premier source. And when you, the consumer, see a house on Zillow, go, "Oh, I want to know more about that house," and click, contact me with more information. It's not the actual listing agent you're going to be put in contact with. You're going to be put in contact with an agent who has paid a chunk of money to Realtor.com, Zillow.com to then get your contact information, your lead, so you can turn around and receive that phone call. All of these agents in here, with the exception of Roma, they're all working specifically off these leads. And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I did a tour as a recruiter assistant at a recruiting office down in Salt Lake City. We had leads that we would call. They were light green, just like in the movie. They had a little white sticker on them, just like that. Okay? And it had nothing but somebody's name, somebody's contact information. Somebody had sent in the postcard going, I want to know more about the Marines, or I want to know about our opportunities in education, whatever it was. And we'd sit there and we'd call those things up, and we'd grab the phone and go, be just like this. Ding, 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 ding. Hi, is Johnny there? Johnny, yes. Corporal Dawson, United States Marine Corps. How are you doing today? Good, good. Well, the reason why I'm calling is because you sent in some information asking us to get in contact with you about the opportunities they have in the Marine Corps. So what were you thinking about, sir? And we do that all day long. I mean, just over and over and over again. And they'd burn out. Sometimes you get a hold of them and it's like, oh, sorry, Johnny joined the Army last week. Or, hey, sorry, I tried to join the Air Force and it turns out that I didn't pass the physical for the Air Force. Or sometimes they just walk right in the door. All right. Just in case you were wondering, when I joined the Marine Corps, I surrendered. I just walked in the door. So this generation of leads today has become the number one thing, as I've interviewed agents and I've talked to the agents, of what is it that you want a brokerage to provide to you, all right, outside of what you're getting now, or what do you think a brokerage should provide for you? And every one of them said we should be getting leads. We should, they want to be coming in and they want to be handed a Glengarry, Glen, and go sell this person a house. So, and that is one of the things that modern brokerages are starting to develop. And they're going to have to go there. We here at ProStar, we've had various sources of leads that we then hand out to our agents. All right, and our agents go out there and close. They're at various levels of quality. Some of them are just like a sign call. Somebody calls on a sign, and it's a brokerage sign, not an individual agent sign. Some people see an ad. Some people just, not at this location, but used to, they would just walk in the door. I mean, we just get somebody come in and say, hey, I wonder if you could help me. Sure, sir. What's going on? And you used to have things called office hours. And the office hours were where you had an agent who is literally sitting at the office during office hours, just in case somebody came in or just in case somebody called. As technology has come in and the internet has come in, people aren't walking down to their friendly neighborhood real estate office to talk to somebody. They're generally doing most of their searching online. So what brokerages do is we go and we advertise to specific zip codes on Facebook. Hey, we're here. We provide this service and we're great. Give us a call. There's other issues where you can do Facebook video. There are a myriad. There are hundreds and hundreds of companies out there who will sell you lists. There's one company out there that really thought that they had the technology because of what your search engine is doing and what you are searching, they could project out whether or not you were looking at buying a house or selling a house. Because people, when they're interested in buying a house, aren't necessarily going to Zillow.com first thing. They're starting to type in questions into Google. How do I get a home loan? That flags you immediately as a potential home buyer. And that winds up on the list. Those lists can be purchased by real estate agents, right? To call. Hey, Johnny, just wonder if you ever given any consideration to buying a house. Why, yes, I have. How do you know that? It's the same technology of why if you sit there and you Googled, Ford Maverick, right, which is the type of truck I'm thinking about buying next week or two, my internet is suddenly filled with nothing but Ford Maverick ads. It's the same technology, just condensed down. This is a new way offices are generating leads for their employees, for their agents. But ultimately, leads are great, but as we've seen with the other four characters in this movie, they lived and died by the leads, and they are at the end of the life cycle of the leads. The names that they're seeing, the phone numbers that they're calling, the doors that they're knocking on, they've already been there before. Remember when Don Lemon's character, right, when he did that cold stop at that house and walked in and just started talking to the guy, he was following up on a lead. That guy already said, we have been harassed, we've been harangued, we've been hounded over and over and over again. And that's because somebody pulled up that lead that day. That was the lead that was assigned to him, and they have to go out there and call on it. But Ricky Roma here, you know, he's willing to take a lead. He's even willing to work a lead. He doesn't like the leads that he gets. But ultimately, he's making it happen because he's working his A business game, and he's working his go out and generate your own contacts game. So the MacGuffin of this show, the Glengarry leads with a little gold ribbon around him and everything. This is the trap of real estate. If you develop your entire business around leads or a specific kind of marketing, let's say it used to be open houses, and open houses did it for you. And sooner or later, open houses go away, and you're not in a position to move to a new kind of effective marketing to keep your business going, you're going to have a bad time. All right. So the Glengarry leads. That pretty much wraps up all I have to say about Glengarry Glen Ross. It's not a straight, perfect residential real estate show. It's gentlemen who are involved in sales, and what they're selling just happens to be real estate. But you can see the characterization. You can see the individual personality types involved in this. I think it's a great movie. Watching it again for these reviews, I picked up different details. I really, for some reason, this movie, the overly testosterone, snapping and snarling, struggling for alphadom is really struck me this time around. I don't know if maybe just because I hit 50 or what, but it's an uncomfortable movie to watch, and it'll be uncomfortable for some people to watch if who's not a big fan of high drama and high tension, a lot of people screaming at each other. Right? And it's definitely not one if you are sensitive to vulgarity and casual racist statements that are thrown out there for emphasis. Right? This is definitely a movie that was done in its time period, based on a play for an earlier time period. You can't make this today and have the same dialogue. So I suggest you go watch it. And next week or next follow-up, I'm going to take a week off on this because I got some stuff to cover for the next week's episode. And then we're probably going to be going to American Family, and he whose name will not be mentioned yet. So thank you much. And that's the end of this week. Wrapped up Glengarry Glen Ross. It seems really discombobulated how this video string itself together. It's because I'm recording all these segments out of order, and then I splice them together in production. And you know, this morning I'm trying to basically these little filler bits between point A to point B. And like I said, I'm only on my second cup of coffee right now, and I just realized, like, wow, I must sound really incoherent through most of this. I mean, I'm slurring my words, you know, barely keeping my eyes open, but sooner or later the caffeine's going to kick in, and I'm going to go take on the rest of the day. So thank you very much for watching this week. I want you guys to have a really great weekend. And let's see, if you don't have your Christmas shopping done now, you're a normal human being, unlike those people who have their Christmas shopping done by like mid-October and strange boxes all over the house. And I know people like to get it out of the way, but you know, we do have time. Amazon trucks are still delivering. I have heard that if your Christmas present isn't off the boat by now, you're not going to get it, and that's a possibility. But let's take this chance to go out there and like shop local. Right? You got enough local artists out there and enough local stores out there. It could probably use the support much more than Jeff Bezos could use another, you know, $2.95 from your purchase or whatever. So have a great weekend. Drive safe out there, and I'll see you next week.